enroll Windows workstations into Landscape and use Landscape to manage the WSL instances within the Windows workstation. First, I will walk you through how to enroll a single Windows machine into Landscape. Then we can talk about enrollment at scale within an enterprise environment. Step 1 is to retrieve your Ubuntu Pro token from ubuntu.com/pro/dashboard. Open a PowerShell prompt with elevated privileges, and create a variable named Ubuntu Pro token and store this variable. We will use it later. Create the registry key that the Ubuntu Pro for Windows agent is going to read its configurations from. It is also possible to write these configurations into a configuration file, but the registry-based approach is typically favored within an enterprise environment. Retrieve the Ubuntu Pro token that was previously saved in an environment variable and store it as a string within the registry key. If you're trying this out on Landscape SaaS and enrolling your Windows host to landscape.canonical.com, you must set this system variable. This command sets gRPC enforce ALPN enabled to false to resolve connection failures caused by recent gRPC updates. Landscape.canonical.com does not yet support the ALPN standard required by the new gRPC version. This variable forces the agent to use the old connection method so it can still talk to the server. This is temporary, and once landscape.canonical.com is updated to support ALPN, we must remove this variable or set it to true. The gRPC library plans to remove this opt-out mechanism entirely in a future release. Note, if you are using self-hosted Landscape or managed Landscape, you do not need to perform this step. The default gRPC enforce ALPN enabled setting is true. These are the Landscape client configurations for every single Ubuntu instance that is launched from this moment onward on this Windows workstation. The /etc/landscape/client.conf file in each Ubuntu instance is given these configurations as defined in the -value section. Within the host section, the FQDN of my Landscape server is assigned to the URL key. Within the client section, these keys are responsible for Landscape client connecting to Landscape server. The account name is set to standalone for any Landscape FQDN that is not landscape.canonical.com. If you're self-hosting Landscape or using managed Landscape, it needs to read standalone. If it is Landscape SaaS, provide your account name. The full list of keys can be found in the Landscape Client man page. The tags key is the only key not relevant to Landscape Client's enrollment, but rather is relevant for how the Ubuntu WSL instance is organized within Landscape. It can therefore be omitted as it is not required. Just like access groups and annotations, which are two other ways Ubuntu instances can be organized and filtered, tags can be updated anytime after enrollment. You can download Ubuntu Pro for Windows with winget, install it from the Microsoft Store, or get the MSI bundle from Canonical at https://ubuntu.com/desktop/wsl/install. Once you have obtained the MSI bundle, you can install it from PowerShell. Installing MSI packages is one of the primary functions of group policy in an on-premise Active Directory, or via Intune. To recap these steps as a PowerShell script, we're setting the Ubuntu Pro token as an environment variable. We define the distribution list URL, which specifies what Ubuntu versions are available and where the images should be downloaded from. Setting distribution list URL can ensure Ubuntu images are not downloaded from externally, and this can be especially helpful in air-gapped or network-restricted environments and in organizations where customized Ubuntu images are provided. The Landscape FQDN and account name needs to be specified. Please make note that the account name cannot be standalone if you are connecting to Landscape SaaS. That account name is reserved for self-hosted Landscape or managed Landscape. In the new landscape UI, the registration key can be found under Organization in the left-hand side navigation. Setting a registration key is useful for auto-accepting registration requests, especially if many Windows workstations and Ubuntu instances are going to be enrolled in landscape. It's worth noting that installing WSL requires a reboot. The command to install WSL should not be included in your PowerShell script. Having WSL install is a prerequisite for installing the Ubuntu Pro for Windows agent. Set item property updates a registry configuration that determines where WSL Ubuntu images can be downloaded from, and which ones are available for install. New item creates a registry key for the Ubuntu Pro for Windows agent. New item property inserts the appropriate configuration values into the previously created key. And lastly, start bits transfer and add apex package download and install the Ubuntu Pro for Windows agent. So once the agent is installed, it can be initialized either via a PowerShell command or by opening the GUI. It is impractical to rely on end users to run the sudo pro attach token command themselves in each of their WSL instances. And configuring Ubuntu Pro for Windows eliminates this opportunity for human error. The Ubuntu Pro for Windows agent takes the ambiguity out from the Ubuntu Pro token attachments. Once it is installed and configured, all future Ubuntu WSL instances automatically have the token attached, and the security patching automations benefit from the security patches of packages in Universe. At no point did the Ubuntu Pro token have to be shared with the end user, and the end user didn't have to follow any one-off special instructions to enable this.